everyone. We're going to call the meeting to order. So this is the September 12th, 2022 Daytona Beach Shores City Council meeting. We are holding it on a Monday night due to the school board meeting tomorrow night. So Sherry, can you take a roll, please?
Mayor Miller,
Yes, I'm here.
Vice Mayor Lindauer,
Present.
Councilmember Bryan,
Here.
Councilmember Thomas,
Here.
Councilmember Pledis.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, this evening, Reverend Bob is not feeling well, so what I'm going to ask instead is a moment of silence, and that's for two things. Naturally, it was the tragedy that we had 21 years ago, 9/11, at different parts of our country. And the next thing is our ally UK lost their precious queen last week. So if we could just have a moment of silence, thank you. Thank you. Please join me now in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So this evening, we are going to go right into our new business, which is the trim process. So we will be calling up the item to adopt the 2022-2023 tentative millage rate, and this is a public hearing. Finance Director Irwin, do you have anything for us?
I do, Madam Mayor. And I don't have a lot, so it won't be like the last budget workshop we had, so don't worry. Let's see, bear with me here. Pull it up here. There's actually only 4 slides counting the first one. Because tonight we're actually setting a tentative millage rate, and as it was proposed back in July 27th was the, goodness. Back in here. It's not advancing. There we go, never mind. Sorry, all this technology. So back on July 27th, there was a proposed budget, a millage rate of 4.639 mils per thousand that was discussed and sent to the property appraiser. Now what I've got here, just so that everyone is aware of what the surrounding cities are doing, this is a tentative rate. So what other cities are presenting currently to their council against what the rollback is. Now you can see here Daytona Beach Shores at a 4.639 mils per thousand is on the bottom, 13 actually number with all of our cities. So we're actually at a lower percentage there than other cities. And this other one just actually puts into perspective the increase over the rollback. Now the rollback rate is what we would have to have for ad valorem to get what we got last year. So here what we're saying is that we're number 15 on the bottom, that we're taking a 4.51% increase over the rollback rate versus other cities where you can see they're taking a much higher stance with over the rollback rate. And then just a little thing to put it into perspective is that our single-family residents with this tentative millage rate of the 4.6389 is looking at basically a $4.94 increase per month in their taxes from last year. And condos, you're looking at a $4.58 per month increase for the next 12 months.
Okay, do we have any questions for our finance director? Okay, if not, I'm going to open this public hearing on 2022-2023 millage rates. This hearing is to establish the tentative millage rate of 4.6389 mills, a tax increase of 4.51 over the rolled back rate of 4.4389 mills, and this resolution also establishes the date of the final public hearing on September 27th, 2022 at 6 p.m. at City Council Chambers, 3000 Bellamy Drive, Daytona Beach Shores, Florida, 32118. Attorney Voice, will you read that in entirety, the tentative millage rate levy resolution number 2022-06 for us, please?
Yes, this is resolution number 2022-06, a resolution of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, adopting the tentative levying of ad valorem taxes for Volusia County for fiscal year 2022-23, providing an effective date. Whereas the City of Daytona Beach Shores of Volusia County, Florida, on September 12, 2022, adopted fiscal year tentative millage rates following a public hearing as required by Florida statute section 200.065. And whereas the City of Daytona Beach Shores of Volusia County, Florida, held a public hearing as required by Florida statute 200.065, and whereas the gross taxable value for operating purposes not exempt from taxation within Volusia County has been certified by the county property appraiser to the City of Daytona Beach Shores as $1,953,270,591. Now therefore be it resolved by the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, that Section 1, the fiscal year 2022 through 2023 operating millage rate is 4.6389 mills, which is greater than the rollback rate of 4.4389 mills by 4.51%. The voted debt service millage is 0.00%. Section 3, any resolution or part of resolution in conflict herewith is hereby repealed. Section 4, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption, passed and duly adopted at a public hearing this 12th day of September 2022. Time adopted, not sure what time it is,
608.
6:08 p.m. And then the signature blocks.
Thank you, Attorney. Okay, right now,
Ready for a motion or do we have to?
no.
Okay.
This is, I'm going to now open this to public comment for anyone that would like to speak and ask questions prior to us adopting this tentative millage rate. Do I have anyone in the audience that would like to ask any questions or make any comments on this resolution? Okay, if not, I'm closing the public comment, and I will now entertain a motion to adopt resolution number 2022-06.
I move we approve this resolution.
Seconded.
Yeah. Okay, does anyone want to discuss the motion before we vote on it? Any discussion?
I would just point out that this percentage over the rollback rate is only about half of the inflation rate.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
9.62 is the current rate, yeah. And I'd like to point out too that I'd like to really praise our finance director for taking our advice and investing in treasuries as opposed to sitting in the Bank America and the other banks where we're getting basically nothing. And now, just so the people know that the results are starting to come in, using the surplus and the emergency funds from the general fund and the sewer fund, we are projecting to get earn interest this year of $650,000, which is a huge reduction in our tax base because this goes into the fund, which means we need less in taxes. And next year, with rates increasing, I expect it to be even higher. So thank you, Lori, for paying attention to this and doing a great job, and my hat's off to you.
Thank you. And Director, I just want to make sure those are the numbers that you're anticipating as well.
In the next 24 months, yes.
Great, thank you. Good job. Okay, so if there's no further discussion, Sherry, can you take a vote on this, please?
Councilmember Bryan,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lindauer,
Yes.
Councilmember Politis,
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes, thank you. So
Wow,
now,
I didn't get to go last.
the tentative operating millage rate is set at 4.6389 mils, which is 4.51% higher than the rollback millage rate of 4.4389 mils, and the date of the final public hearing is now set at September 27th, 2022 at 6:00 p.m. at City Council Chambers, 3000 Bellamy Drive, Daytona Beach Shores, Florida, 32118. Thank you. Okay, next we will be calling up item FY 2022-2023, tentative budget, stating it now will be a public hearing. Finance Director Irwin, do you have something for us?
Yes, Madam Mayor. No slides for this one. This is just a couple words, so it should be very quick. The budget remains at, it increased about $116,000. The reason being is that we moved the $100,000 from the Economic Development Fund, which is another fund that was actually part of the entire workshop that we did, the budget workshop, but we just rolled it up under the general fund, as we normally do. So that $100,000 goes in there. Then there was just $16,000 because of insurance that we were waiting on. So that is the increase there. We do need to make an amendment to the budget for the Chase property, because that will not close for 60 days. So that was not included in the original budget, because we actually thought it might close this year. So we need to increase the funds by $200,000. That's not doing anything to ad valorem. We will take that out of reserves.
Okay. That $200,000, was that the price that we actually paid, or is that the price plus closing?
Yes,
What did we actually pay for that?
$175,000.
Do we need a resolution?
We will.
Okay.
Okay, so the public hearing is now open for fiscal year 2022-2023 budget. Attorney Voice, can you read the entirety of the tentative budget resolution 2022-07, please?
Yes, this is Resolution 2022-07, a resolution of the City of Daytona Beach Shores of Volusia County, Florida, adopting the tentative budget for fiscal year 2022 through 2023, providing for an effective date. Whereas the City of Daytona Beach Shores of Volusia County, Florida, on September 12, 2022, held a public hearing as required by Florida Statute 200.065, and whereas the City of Daytona Beach Shores of Volusia County, Florida, set forth the appropriations and revenue estimate for the budget for fiscal year 2022 through 2023 in the amount of $19,347,900. Now therefore be it resolved by the City of Daytona Beach Shores of Volusia County, Florida, that 1, the fiscal year 2022 through 2023 tentative budget be adopted. 2, the final budget hearing will be held on September 27th, 2022 in the City Council Chambers located at 3000 Bellamy Drive, Daytona Beach Shores, Florida, 32118. 3, this resolution will take effect immediately upon its adoption. Duly adopted at a public hearing this 12th day of September, 2022. Time adopted,
6:50.
6:15 p.m. And then the signature lines.
Okay, thank you. Sherry, before you give it to us for our signatures, beach was spelled incorrectly. I don't know how important that is. Would you be able to change that before the signatures go on this?
And we can,
Line through, or? So that would it be in number 2.
I see that.
Whiteout.
Yeah, I'll use whiteout tomorrow, that way we can have the attorneys.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so our public hearing is now open. Is there anyone in the audience that has any comments on our 2022-2023 tentative budget? Not hearing any, I am now closing the public comments. I will now entertain a motion to adopt the increase in the fiscal year 2022-2023 tentative budget of $200,000 for the Chase property and resolution number 2022-07, adopting the fiscal year 2023 tentative annual budget of $15,845,300, which includes the Chase amendment.
I so move.
I'll second.
Thank you. And any discussion or any questions for our city manager or any of our staff?
I have one. I was looking through the budget. Is there a line item for the interest that's earned on the investments that you guys made? Is it under pool? Is that what it's called, pooled revenue?
If you turn to 10.
Okay. I just wanted, I was looking through it today and I couldn't isolate it.
Yeah. So.
Oh, okay,
it's-
so I did.
Yeah, well, there's pool cash interest, but then down here, other investment interest.
That's
So
what
the current year is the
Yeah, I
230,
like to
and then
track
there's
it.
another line item in the sewer.
Okay, thanks.
That is the other part of what the sewer funds are invested in.
Thank you, that's all. I was looking at it today.
Councilman Pelagas asked a question about the interest, and I don't think you had your mic down. I was just going to say that City Manager Swartzlander was able to point it out on page 10.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? If not, Sherry, can you take a vote, please?
Vice Mayor Lindauer,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Politis,
Yes.
Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Perrone.
Yes.
Thank you. And we have no presentations or public notices this evening, except that we just learned that it is Councilman Politis' birthday today. So if I knew how to sing, but anyway, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Okay, we'll move on now to the city council minutes of August 24th, 2022. Do you hear a motion to accept those minutes?
I'll move to accept.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on those minutes? Okay, if not, then Sherry, can you take a roll on that, please?
Councilmember Politis,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lindauer,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Mayor Miller,
Yes, thank you.
Councilmember Perrone.
Yes.
Okay, next we'll move on to our consent agenda, and we only have one item on that, and that has to do with our ARPA funds. So do I hear a motion to accept that consent agenda?
I move we accept the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion on that item? Sherry, can you take a roll, please?
Councilmember Bryan,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lindauer,
Yes.
Councilmember Politis,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes, thank you. All right, now we'll listen to our city attorney report for September 12th, 2022. Attorney Voice, what do you have for us this evening?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We updated the Daytona Beach Shores Ordinance Violation Civil Citation Form. We provided legal advice to code enforcement staff regarding a lien reduction request. We conducted legal research in advance of the September Coffee with the Mayor event regarding the new condo bills, which is Senate Bill 4D. And Wade was going to be doing that, but he's ill, so I'm going to be doing it. We reviewed the Community Services Code Enforcement Violation Letter for businesses that remain out of compliance with the sign code. We reviewed a special event application and drafted indemnification and hold harmless agreement to protect the city's interest when we are conducting special events. We conducted legal research and advised staff regarding a question as to the applicability of a conditional use or variance application. And we reviewed the waste management contract and the amendment to that contract, and we advised staff as to the validity of a request by the contractor for a change in the method of calculating surcharges.
Thank you. And what questions do we have for our city attorney? Okay, if none, thank you very much.
Sure.
Now on to our city manager, Kurt Swartzlander. What do you have for us this evening?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. The first thing is, out back we have our Veterans Park. And as I think all of you are aware, under President Trump, our government added the Space Force. We don't have a flag for them. So in the budget you adopted, we put some money in to amend the Veterans Park. And at the next council meeting, I'm asking permission to go ahead and bring a concept back to the council. So with your permission, we'll bring that back for you to review. Actually, it's two different options that staff has devised, because there's not really enough room without cramming it in there to put the Six Flag in the existing location, and we have some options to move that. So the next, with your permission, with the next meeting, I'll bring that concept back. So with consensus, nobody objecting, we'll add that. The letters went out on the non-conforming signs. This was the letter that spelled out the deadline and the possible $250 a day fines for non-compliance, and it was pretty much the letter straightforward, basically saying either remove your sign or get a new one that comes into compliance. Much nicer than that, but very firm at the same time.
So this was the second letter. The first one was
Correct.
more or less a notification. This is, all right.
Yeah, the first one, we just kind of did a reminder letter. This was the one that says, hey, you know, you're facing possible fines if you don't come into compliance.
And when did this letter go out, Kurt?
Last week, I
Okay.
believe, 2 Fridays ago.
Do
So
you happen to know, or does our, do you happen to know, do we get any feedback on this second stricter letter?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So we have received a lot of inquiries, but for the most part, everyone has been somewhat favorable towards the actual letter that went out there, because the letter also noted the aspect of the grant program. And so we haven't gotten any resistance, but maybe one out of, I would say, about 20 calls that we've received.
Thank you.
also then, if you haven't driven by, take a drive by the old Aloha Falls Miniature Golf Course. It's demoed and been reseeded. That seed looks like it's taking pretty good. I don't know if they've taken the fence down yet, but it looks.
They took it down, Matt?
Did it come down to? Okay, thank you.
And does it look good with it down?
That's awesome.
Great.
There we go. And the last thing is, we're working with the city attorney to compose a flyer to provide a preliminary mail out to all of our possible condominium in the city. We're working on a list trying to identify all the locations, but this letter is going out to everybody that may be, that we are able to identify so far. There will be a formal letter that says, in the future, the city has identified your property as a condominium, you must comply, and that it starts a clock ticking. This letter is not intended to start the clock yet, because we're still working on that list on the advice of our attorney, and they're reviewing this letter. So that will be going out shortly once it's approved. And that's all I have tonight, Mayor.
All right, I want to go back to Aloha Falls. So
Yes.
I wanted to remind everyone that this was sort of the compromise that we reached. There was someone in our city that had very great fines that I was willing to reduce, because this was my end goal, to get this Aloha Falls down. We had found out there were squatters there. We found needles, was it cots or tents? So there was a lot of things on that property that I knew that if we negotiated the fine down, that owner was willing to sell that. So I just want you to see that this is a result of what happened. We did a little bit of negotiation, a little bit of compromising, but to Matt's point, we have a beautiful piece of property now that has no squatters, no needles, no tents, no cots. So just want to tell you, that's the reasoning, what we did a couple months ago. And then, Kurt, I have a question about who purchased this property, or maybe Stuart can tell us. Is this Aloha Falls, was this purchased from someone out of town that their plans are to put a upscale miniature course, if you would?
It's actually a local group, Madam Mayor. They've done several in the area, and they come with a very good reputation.
And do you know any reason why we're thinking it might be? Is it because of the economy right now for the 2 years?
That, I don't want to speculate, but they do have other projects that they're working on throughout the country, and my guess is that it's just a matter of moving it up the project list.
Okay, and this is correct that this will not be a lease property. They actually purchased the property, so they now own it. Okay?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for our city manager on any of the items that he went over?
The people didn't complain about the letter. Did they indicate they're going to try to come into compliance?
Yes, they have.
Good.
Great, and are we currently at only 2 out of the 52? So we're down to 50 right now, is that correct?
I believe that number's correct,
Okay,
Madam Mayor.
all right, thank you. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, I'm just curious of what the grounds, the one that you said complained. What grounds did they use to complain, other than just complaining?
So that particular person that complained was a new owner, and I think the person just wasn't familiar with the code and familiar with the constraints that that site had. So it's a conversation that we're having to try to educate that particular individual, and we anticipate that within the next few weeks or so, after a few more conversations, that we'll get them on board.
Well, is that a non-disclosure in the sale of the property then?
I would speculate on that, I don't know.
Okay, that's what it sounds like.
Okay. Next, we're going to move, we have no old business. We're going to move on to new business, and this is a special events application that we have for Millie's Restaurant, a viewing party at 3218 South Atlantic Avenue. Becky, on this, there's nothing for you to read? We're just going.
There is nothing for me to
Okay,
read.
all right. So, Stuart, do you want to come up and tell us about this special event and this application, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So for the record, my name is Stuart Cruz, Community Services Director with the City of Daytona Beach Shores. This particular application that you see before you, Madam Mayor, council members, is SE 2022-1470, which is the Millie's Restaurant, which the subject is Millie's Restaurant located at 3218 South Atlantic Avenue. The purpose of this particular special events application is for the Millie's Restaurant to host a viewing party for the Millie's Restaurant Food Network premiere on Triple D. Triple D, as most of you may know, is Diners, Drive-In, and Dives. It's basically a long-standing and very, very popular show on the Food Network. And so some of you may have heard through the media and other sources that the Food Network actually came down and filmed an episode down here in Daytona Beach Shores at the Millie's Restaurant, I believe a couple of months ago. And so just, I want to say maybe 30 to 40 days ago, Millie's Restaurant was advised as to when the premiere date would be, which is this Friday, September 16th at 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. I'm sorry, at 9 p.m. is the actual air time, but the special events would be held from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. So the number of participants that they're anticipating is anywhere from 80 to 100. There would be seating inside and outside the facility. There would be a special event menu with local favorites and kid options. There will be a live band outside, and there will be an inflatable projection screen outside as well for the folks who are sitting outside to actually view. And of course, there's indoor televisions as well. There will be sanitary measures with mobile water closets. Parking will be at the Westminster by the Sea Church off-site parking lot, which is basically 180 feet to the northwest side of the main entrance, the northern entrance of the facility. In terms of safety, it is my understanding that there will be off-duty public safety officers hired, and of course there will be an inspection by the Fire Prevention Division and the Public Safety Department, and cleanup should be completed immediately after the event has been held. So this is an aerial view of the site. You can see the event site is actually at the corner, the northwest corner of Cascade and South Atlantic Avenue. And as I mentioned earlier, the event parking is just 180 feet to the northwest area of the driveway for the site. This is the event site plan. You can see that there's going to be tables This exhibit is showing 13 tables. You can see the band and the projector area on the south side of the property. There will be some vendors. Neighbor's Ice Cream will be there, and also Cito will be there as well. And then, of course, there's going to be food tents outside, drink tents, and other facilities as well. So the water closet will be on, the mobile water closet would be on the northwest portion of the property. The entrances along Cascade are all going to be barricaded off, and the entrances on Atlantic are also going to be barricaded off. So if you're interested in this event, you definitely want to hit Cascade Terrace or maybe one of the other side streets and come through off La Paloma and then park over in the parking lot that I mentioned earlier that's owned by the Westminster by the Sea Presbyterian Church. So staff has two recommendations. The first recommendation is, again, because of the short notice that the Food Network gave the applicant was unable to meet the 60-day advance submission requirement deadline. And so staff is recommending approval of the waiver request made by Miller's Restaurant. And the second recommendation, of course, is approval of the Miller's Restaurant Special Events Application SE 2022-1470 as presented. You may see in your staff report that we actually had 3 conditions upon approval by the city attorney. Those conditions have been addressed. Those 3 conditions were the hold harmless agreement, and those have actually been provided and approved by the city attorney and has been executed by the applicant. The other one was just a general agreement for the activity, and the third one was the insurance in which the city would be listed on the insurance provided. And so all those have been provided and have been reviewed by the city attorney, and as such, staff has no conditions attached to this, and we're recommending approval as presented. If there's any questions for me, I'll be happy to take those, and of course, we have 2 representatives from Miller's Restaurant who I'm sure are really excited to talk about this event.
So do we hear a motion for the waiver of Millie's Restaurant Special Events application?
Madam Mayor, before that, I'd just like to disclose that I got an invitation to the event. I want to make sure that doesn't cause any conflict of interest.
You turn
It
it
would
down,
not.
right?
It would not cause a conflict of
Okay.
interest, no.
Also move to waive the 60-day advance submission requirement.
I second that.
Okay, any discussion whatsoever? Any questions for the representative of Millie's?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
just, and I'm not sure Sherry will tell me, and so will our attorney, I have done and continue to do legal work for Millie's, so I don't know if I'm okay to vote.
Will the outcome of this vote have any effect upon your
No.
continuing to represent
No.
them? No, then it should not
Thank you.
cause a conflict.
Okay, thank you for bringing that up, Councilman. Okay, can we take a vote on this, please? Sherry?
Councilmember Thomas?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lindauer?
Yes.
Councilmember Pledis?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant?
Yes.
Thank you. For my own personal clarification, how does this special events differ from that 30-day thing that we put in about 2 years ago?
The temporary promotional activities? Yes, so basically, this particular event or section of the code covers activities that are open to the public and having over 50 participants and having vendors and other types of activities that are not associated with the actual product that is being served or offered by the actual business. So because of that and because of blocking off parking lots, the entire parking lots, utilizing the entire space that's there, it classifies as a special event and not a temporary promotional activity.
Okay, and then follow-up question. We went through a lot to get that for the city. Has anyone been taking advantage of that at all?
So there have been a few applicants. Generally, we see it around special events time, like such as Bike Week and Biketoberfest. But for the most part, we haven't had a lot of inquiries regarding that particular feature in our city's code.
That's something that we worked hard on getting that tweaking and putting that in out. So let's have a conversation about how we can reinstitute that or let people know, we did a lot to get this for you. So let's take advantage. Okay, that's all I needed. Thank you.
I just have one question for I guess I didn't hear the motion. Was the motion and the vote for the waiver, or was it for?
I would.
I believe it was combined.
Well, it was, but I'll clarify. I will move to approve both the 60-day advance submission requirement as well as a special events application.
And I second that.
Sherry, do you need another roll, or that's all you need?
All in
Since he-
favor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Aye, aye.
Okay, thanks. Okay, and now we are going to the ordinance of purchase of Chase property, and that number has been changed to 2022-15. Becky, can you read that for us, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor, this is ordinance number 2022-15, an ordinance of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Florida, providing for the acceptance of real property more particularly described herein, providing for the taking of administrative actions, and providing for conflict, severability, and an effective date.
Thank you. Who will be speaking to this? Is that you, or is that our city manager? Thank you.
This, what you have before you is a requirement of our charter. Our charter requires us to convey property, whether we're buying or selling, through an ordinance. We're pretty much already committed to it because we agreed to the purchase and sale agreement, so this is merely a formality and a process to comply with the charter. So you have a pretty simple, straightforward ordinance with the purchase and sale agreement attached to it as the exhibit, spelling out the legal description of the property and all the requirements of the purchase and sale agreement. And then we have, it would close in less than 60 days.
Okay, thank you. Do we hear a motion to accept 2022-15?
So move.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on this? Sherry, can you take a roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Vice Mayor Lindauer?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Fleitas?
Yes.
Councilmember Conlon?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you. Okay, now we'll go on to council comments. Councilman Bryan, what do you have for us this evening?
I don't have any comments.
Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor?
No comments.
All right, and my comments are, and we had talked about it before, that we are going to have coffee with the mayor this Wednesday, 10 a.m. in the community center on the second floor. We are hoping to have Attorney Wade Vos there, but as you heard, he's ill, and we're going to have Becky Boyce there, and so she'll be talking about the charter reviews that will be on the next ballot, and also the Bill 4D. I just want to make sure that everyone knows this is just to provide awareness of this bill. Becky will not be there in any legal authority. She will just be telling people what is going on that, and then she will caution you, and we'll tell you several times, you need to reach out to the attorney at your particular condo to get the exact legal information that you need.
That's correct.
Okay, great, thank you. Councilman Conomus?
Just other than we had the privilege of attending the concert and had a great time with all the food trucks as well as the End December Bash. So thank you to Nancy Maddox and her staff for coordinating that. Had a great time.
Great. Birthday boy?
Have no comments.
No comment? All right, we'll move along. I do have one audience comments. And Julie Mills, if you'll please come up. Yes.
I am Julie Mills, and I've lived at the Cloverleaf North for the past 25 years on the top floor. And tonight I'm seeking your help. The curb appeal at the Cloverleaf North and the new townhouses needs to be addressed. Our manager has spoken to Scotty and the new president of the golf course. Got no place. I've spoken to Mr. Cruz several times, and this Wednesday will be 1 month since DeGuin from his office came to take pictures of the problem. I called her last week. I have had no answer. Mr. Cruz says he measures different from Fred Hyatt. If Fred Hyatt was here, this problem would have already been taken care of. Mr. Cruz tells me that he measures different than Fred Hyatt. There's a white oleander and a ligustrum on the property that the city owned before it was sold to the townhouse people. And Fred always took care of this. There's 3 palms in one area, there's a ligustrum, and there's an oleander that belong to that property. And when you come to it, next to our entrance, you will see where the bulldozers ran over the oleander. It's a complete mess. the garbage cans at the new property out there, I think they call it 25, the new property, they stay out all week. I look at that out my window. I would like to see them in the garage. And they also need a bin for their recycling because it stays out there and it blows all over and it's a mess. So who's going to clean up this mess? That's what we'd like to know.
Okay, thank you very much for coming in this evening. So my suggestion would be that you get back with Stuart Cruz, and if you don't get the satisfaction with him, he reports to our city manager. And
Is
our,
that Mr. Cruz over there?
that is Mr. Cruz over there.
there.
Okay, all right, so perhaps you can talk after the meeting, because that would be, so public, we just give you the staff person that you can reach out to. That is our Community Service Director, Stuart Cruz, and then our city manager is Kurt Swartzlander. And that's who Stuart reports to.
After the meeting and I speak
Well,
to
you can set up a time to meet with them. Stuart, do you think you can meet with her and discuss this? Okay?
I've already talked to Mr. Cruz several times, and then a month ago, his assistant Gwen came. So now, do I have to talk to him again?
I would like you to go back and see what can be worked out. In the resolution, the escalation there would be our city manager.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else that has any comments they'd like to make? Okay, if not, we're going to go on to the recommended items for the next agenda. Does anyone have any items? Okay, if not, then the meeting is adjourned. Thank you for coming. I